Crossroads Football Live is presented by Victory Auto Group with Sports Director Max Williams and Weekend Sports Anchor Ray Robinson. Sponsored by Adson Offers Velocity Power Sports, Palace Bingo, and Frost Bank. Crossroads Football Live starts now.
Everyone, welcome back here to Week 5 of Crossroads Football Live, and tonight we have a lot of games here to cover, and again, we will not have any in-person interview here this week, unfortunately, but that doesn't mean we're going to stop our highlights here for tonight's show. But before we get to that, though, let's check out here where our viewer poll, where I asked everyone going ahead of time, who do you think would win our game of the week here in Week 5? Well, I mean, Wallace Brazos is out of our area, so I kind of assumed this would kind of be like a landslide kind of there for the viewer poll of Tidehaven getting 94%. They're over 6% there for Wallace Brazos. But would that be the reality here for this game? Let's check out here the highlights here between both of these sides, because for Tidehaven, they head in this with a bunch of confidence after this game, beating Ganado there Week 4's game of the week, and Brazos, they're also heading in this game, they're 4-0. So it's the battle of the unbeaten, so who would stay unbeaten there going into this matchup? And again, Tidehaven, a lot of confidence, like I mentioned in this game. Wallace Brazos, kind of an underrated team outside the Houston area. And again, for both of those teams, that's going to be the key. Who is going to establish there the big-time plays to start with? Well, it's starting on the defensive end. Look at this big-time play. Great defensive stop there from Tidehaven as the stop the rushing back there. What a big-time play there from Julius Garza, making the play out there for the Brazos on the play. How about Kale Russell, though? The next throw, big time out there, finding for the touchdown for the tight end, Caden Glaze, for the Tigers. And again, for Tidehaven, they would take the early lead. Kale Russell, how about this? Makes a good rushing. He's done this a lot this season. How about just making people miss and getting inside the red zone? And again, right after that, it would be a touchdown that would lead there for Tidehaven, and Tidehaven would win this game 56-25. And officially, they are still undefeated there this season for the Tigers. They are going to host the Industrial Cobras, who actually are on their bye week right now. So we'll see how that game matches up for Tidehaven, though. Undefeated, still 5-0. Now we travel over to the 3A ranks, where the Edna Cowboys are coming off their bye week, and they begin district play tonight on the Corpus area, facing a very talented undefeated team there in the Orange Grove Bulldogs. And this was a challenge there for both of these teams. But starting off, how about this one from the play? How about Orange Grove getting down there to the sideline, and they get a big-time rushing touchdown. And again, Orange Grove is one of those underrated teams out of the Corpus area that made a lot of big-time plays. How about that start for Orange Grove on the play? That afterwards, getting a nice little day, taking his time there. This quarterback's underrated for Orange Grove, wide open. I mean, where's the defense on that play? That for Edna left him there wide open. I could probably make that pass there to get in the end zone. And then afterwards, Orange Grove would find a way to get else into the end zone and make a big-time play. And the Bulldogs, guess what? They beat the Cowboys in this one, 34-21. Edna kind of got a couple of late scores in this game, but for Edna now, this is a team that you're going to have to consider, what are they going to do to make changes? They're 1-3 overall right now, and they got to change it up here in district play, because they're going to face Aransas Pass at home there next week. And again, we'll talk about Goliad, a team that's kind of in their competition right now for both of those teams. Now, Ganado is trying to get back on track after that tough loss to Tidehaven there last week. Well, they did. They won 46-0 over Flatonia. They're officially back on track there now, 4-1 overall. They're going to be back to host the Kennedy Lions there next week. And stay with us here on Crossroads Football Live, as after the break, we're going to see how Victoria West and East did, and we'll also check out how Calhoun did as well for their homecoming game against Mexico City. All that coming up next on Crossroads Football Live.
This portion of Crossroads Football Live is brought to you by Victory Auto Group, where the customer always wins.
Welcome back, everyone, here to Crossroads Football Live. And again, now we go down south to talk about the Calhoun Sand Crabs, who are hosting their homecoming game tonight versus Mexico City Academy. And for Calhoun, they're looking to get back-to-back wins here in this game. So without further ado, let's check out the highlights. First of all, the defensive side there for Mexico City kind of sacks there the quarterback for Calhoun, Ashton Sturtle. Again, good start, but the defense then of Calhoun, they get it right back, right? A little bit of payback from Gavin Reyna, who sacks the quarterback there for Mexico City on the play. But then after that, look at this catch right there for, again, Jaden Farrell intercepting the ball in a deep pass. And guess what? It would lead to one of the star players of the game, and one of my favorite players to watch for in this Crossroads. Number wide receiver Isaiah Cabrillas takes it all the way on a screen pass there for a touchdown, and Calhoun would take the lead. And guess what? After this, look at this pass there, also from Cernal, finding Cabrillas open and a little bit underthrown, but he still makes the play there. And they would get the celebration right afterwards, with Gunnar Martinez having a long touchdown run, as you see right here on this play. And Calhoun just kept getting the scoring going, and their defense made more and more plays. and they get the big-time win on homecoming night, winning 29-0 there over Mexico City Academy. Officially now, the second win in a row now for Coach Hernter now, as they are now 2-3 overall. And now they're going to be back. They're going to be off next week before they begin district play on October 10th. And after the game, we talked to the star player. You saw two of the big touchdown plays that he had there in Isaiah Cabrillo's. Talk about how this team, how he felt there getting on the field, and what's the team looking for going into district play.
Oh, yeah, that was amazing. They were just happy to be here. It was fun playing them. They had great energy. We had great energy. It was just an amazing game. I got to do this for us, for as a team. Like, this is not just for myself. I can't be greedy. I got to do this for everybody as in the team.
I love that answer right there. Always crediting his teammates on the play there for Cabrillo's. And again, for this team, he's going to have to be lights out, because for Calhoun, last year they also started 0-3, but then they turned it around. They're going to district play. So it looks a little bit similar going this season here for Calhoun. So we'll see what happens the rest of the way. Now from 3A action over to 5A, Victoria West Warriors played a home game tonight at Memorial Stadium versus San Antonio McCollum. First of all, how about this run from Genesis Jeffries? Gets a big-time play. That just keeps the legs going on the play. And again, for West, they would soon there get a touchdown run coming up here on your screen. And again, they have a lot of running backs for West, right? You got Genesis Jeffries making plays. You also got Brody Flores. But one guy that we really don't talk about like is Andrew Henley. Look at that. Bullies there into the end zone to get there 4-6, and they would make the extra point after that. And again, West, just like Calhoun, would not look back in this game, with the final score being 41-7. And again, for West, their defense has just been lights out the rest of the way. They're officially 5-0, 1-0 to start district play. And again, they go out on the road. This is their first couple of challenge, I think, this season for West, when they go out to Kerrville-Tybee next week in a very emotional game out there for both squads there in next week. How about Victoria East? They played last night for Thursday Night Football versus the New Braunfels Unicorns. And for East, still searching for that first win. They're 0-5 this season, lost to New Braunfels 42-3. And again, for East, they're looking to kind of get back on track, because they're going to have a bye week before they start up another Thursday night game against San Antonio MacArthur. Now one of the teams that is not playing this week is the Yorktown Wildcats, but that doesn't mean they're going to be shouted out still as our band of the week. And again, it's the second time we're giving out to a 2A representative, as last week we gave it out to Shiner, and tonight we give it out to the Yorktown Wildcats being this week's band of the week. And again, if you have a band that you want to represent here for our show Crossroads Football Live, just go to crossroadstoday.com/contest and go in there to get it done. And stay with us here on Crossroads Football Live, as after the break we're going to check out how Cuero, Refugio, and Hallettsville did all in tonight's action. So don't go anywhere.
This portion of Crossroads Football Live is brought to you by Palace Bingo. And have high school football without the beat of the marching bands. Crossroads Football Live is excited to spotlight talent in our local high schools with our Band of the Week segment. Every week, we'll pick one band to feature on Crossroads Football Live. Get your cameras and show us your band under the Friday night lights. Go to crossroadstoday.com/contest to nominate. Tune in to CFL every Friday night at 10:35 to see who's marching to the top.
Welcome back here to Crossroads Football Live. Again, we've seen a lot of great games and highlights that we've shown so far, but one team that's kind of been up in my Friday Night 5 rankings here as of late is the Cuero Gobblers, who are 4-0 heading into tonight's action. They got a high-powered offense, as we know, led by quarterback Jackson Marie and their star wide receiver Walker Dietz. But they faced a very talented 5A team in Belton, and they got a good start here. A nice little rush pass out to the outside, and Belton would strike first here in this game there for the Tigers. But Cuero, this is why Jackson Marie is one of the best right here. Guess who he finds? His favorite target. Why not? Walker Dietz gets into the end zone there. It is tied there at 7-7. But then afterwards, Belton, they were looking deep, but give me that right there. Good little play in center field there for Cuero to get the big time interception. But for Belton, they would just strike right back. How about 30 yards to take back the lead? This game went back and forth. I mean, we saw offensive fireworks for both teams. I mean, Cuero catches a nice little 40-yarder. Nice little pass there from Marie to get back inside the end zone for the touchdown there to Jordan Jones for the Gobblers. But this game would go back and forth, a high-scoring affair, and Cuero on homecoming as well for the Gobblers would win 50-43 here in this contest. And the Gobblers now have to travel all the way out to Rio Grande Valley to face Harlingen and the Cardinals there next week, again, to finish out non-district play before they start district next week. Well, let's stay over now in the 3A ranks with the Palacios Sharks. They opened up district play 3-0 there versus a 3-0 team, in the West Oso Bears. And again, Corpus Christi, this West Oso team's an underrated team to watch. And this one, little fumbled snap on the play, but it's at the play back there for Palacios. So luckily did not get a scare on that play. But again, West Oso, though, they would kind of get their defense offense and a 21-yard touchdown run there from Number. How about the quarterback? Getting little plays there into the end zone. Actually, the next play was a touchdown run. It's all the big plays, and then he got into the end zone there for West Oso. So West Oso, their rushing attack was also lethal here in this game. But for Palacios, they get outside the pocket, try to look for a first down run. A nice job play there from, again, Trey Wexman, number 1, getting the offense going. But West Oso right back here on this play. The quarterback looked like he was going to throw, and then how about this? Gets in there. No one's going to touch him there for the end zone. Actually, one man missed, and he would get there for the Bears. And West Oso and Corpus Christi stays 4-0. Palacios officially only is 1-3 right now this season. And again, they're going to, after beating Danbury 55-0, you thought a little bit of confidence for Palacios. Well, West Oso would take care of that. And again, for the Bears now, they are 4-0. And for Palacios, they're going to travel out to Goliad next week, which we're going to highlight their game here in a matter of moments. Now, before we get to more highlights, we're going to shout out here their fan cam that we got here. Shout out here to Phyllis Brown out there from Calhoun. Wearing a nice little hat right there and being there on the sidelines. And again, props up to get that out there for the Calhoun. Again, it was their homecoming night as well. So for Calhoun fans or anyone that wants to get any fan cam photos, just remember to submit it in through our contest and work that way to get your chance to get known on our CFL Crossroads show. How about Refugio, a team that had their bye week as well? They faced the Fremont Cowboys. And again, this game was not even close. As you see, everyone's hand was knocking out the rip there for a second almost, and then gets into the end zone. And again, this would just kind of be the tail of this game. I mean, you saw a little bit of the score right there, 54-0. Refugio would just dominate this game to start district play versus Fremont, with the final score being at the end of the day 54-0. And Refugio still looks like to be that dominant team, and looks like, I think, will take control of their district, because they're going to travel out to Refugio, call for Seahawks there next week. Now time over to the 3 Division I with the Hallettsville Brahmas hosting the Beeville Jones Trojans, who lost last week to Victoria West. And again, for Hallettsville, they're looking to start off strong here, get back on the win column. A nice play from their quarterback, Nicole Baguda, get outside the pocket and again get the first down on the play. It would then lead into a nice little touchdown run on the play later on there coming up here for Hallettsville. And how about the rushing game, getting it done? Because again, even though it's a little bit earlier highlight, they still got some big time rushing touchdowns in this game to get the job done. As you see, a nice little run also to the outside from Traden Williams, who beats a couple of players, gets out there for a big play. And for Hallettsville, they get the big time close victory. I mean, when I say close, only 1-point win for the Brahmas here in this contest, meaning for Hallettsville, they officially move over to 2-3 overall. For Beeville Jones, they are 1-4 overall, and for the Brahmas, they travel out to Rockport Fulton there next week. Now, coming up here on Crossroads Football Live after the break, we're going to see how Yoakum, Goliad, and Shiner did tonight. So, be back here in a couple minutes on Crossroads Football Live.
We're the Palacios High School cheerleaders, and you're watching Crossroads Football Live.
This portion of Crossroads Football Live is brought to you by Frost Bank.
We're back here on Crossroads Football Live, and again, now we're going to check out how the Yoakum Bulldogs did tonight as they traveled out to the Austin area to face the Hyde Park Panthers. And again, for Yoakum, they're a team that we haven't talked about recently. They're 3-1 overall. For Yoakum, they actually started off right here. They got a short kickoff there, and I'm kind of a mistake there for Hyde Park. Takes it in there to the house, and that's actually the first play of the game there to start up there for the Yoakum Bulldogs. And again, that's what you want to start with. Again, you make a little mistake just kicking it off short. You think it's going to trick up again the receiving team there on the kickoff return team, but guess what? It did not. And after that, get the little extra point afterwards there for Yoakum to get it now up to 7-0 on the play. So now afterwards, though, you're thinking, how would Hyde Park kind of respond in this game? Well, didn't really go well here, because then the quarterback gets back, the defense makes a big time play, scoop and score for the touchdown there for Yoakum. As it looks like he was going to get there, just gets it in the end zone there to get for the touchdown there for the Bulldogs. So how about that? The special teams gets to score, the defense gets to score for Yoakum, and again, their offense did just that as well, because the final score here in this game would be 49-10. The Yoakum Bulldogs would get the victory in this contest. And for Yoakum, they now are going to finish up non-district play on the road versus Blanco before they start up district there in 2 weeks. Now, how about the Goliad? How would they do tonight there to start off district play there on the road versus Mathis? And again, good start. We just talked to my man Donovan Perry there last week when they came in studio. Well, showcases that kind of touchdown speed there into the end zone.
Inside
gets another score as well. So again, 2 easy touchdowns there to start off there for getting the Goliad Tigers. But how about this play? This could be for our top 3 plays. Lamont Franklin gets a hurdle up there inside there. He would just be there short of the goal line, but they would score there the next play. And guess what? It would be 41-21 there. Goliad will get the victory there over the Mathis Pirates, and they officially now move over to 4-1 overall. They're going to host Palacios next week. Over to some quick scores. How about the Shiner Comanches? They face non-district opponent Luling here in this game. They get a big-time win, 40-7. They host Charlotte next week. Over to Bloomington. They're trying to start district off strong after last week's loss. They beat their Dan Perry 37-16. And again, they get the big-time victory. They host Latonia at home next week. How about Bay City? They finished off non-district play versus Brazosport Exporters. And guess what? They won this one 59-3 for Bay City. They are off next week before they start district play at Floresville in 2 weeks. And stay with us here on Crossroads Football Live, as after the break, we're going to reveal 2 more final scores and reveal this week's Friday Night 5 Power Rankings. So don't go anywhere.
This portion of Crossroads Football Live is brought to you by Edson offers Velocity Power Sports Outdoor Fun Store.
All right, everyone. Earlier in the show, we talked about our game of the week with the Tidehaven Tigers getting a big-time victory over Wallace Brazos to improve to 5-0 overall, winning 56 there to 25. And then our weekend sports anchor, Ray Robinson, was at this game, had a chance to talk to a couple players and coaches about this victory tonight.
Max, your exciting Friday night football energy brings us all the way here to Wallace, Texas, and do not change your screens because, I mean, it was a different team when talking about the second half, but it's still the same Tidehaven Tigers. They came out and dominated, I mean, a great second half. And, guys, you know, how are y'all feeling after a good game, Kel?
I mean, we're feeling good. These are my brothers, you know, battle through adversity, and this is what we do. We're built for times like these.
For sure. And, I mean, Bryce, you came out the woodwork with just, you know, 3 or 4 touchdowns to kind of kick things off. I mean, what was the motivating factor as we, you know, as you guys came out? Because you were just down 4 points in the second half.
Yes, sir. I know coming down, I mean, being down in the second half is not too fun, but coming out and being able to work through it with my team and just being able to be a game changer and coming out on top.
For sure, for sure. And I mean, as I look amongst you guys, I see a good team on the field, but I also see a real good sense of brotherhood because as you guys were down 4 points, nobody got too down on themselves. So what is the reasoning for a good, you know, brotherhood that you guys have amongst yourself and not being hard on each other?
I mean, just summer, working hard, sticking together, working hard throughout the summer, trusting each other. Everybody showing up in the summer and know I can trust these guys, they can trust me. So that's what it is. We've been doing this our whole lives.
For sure. Bryce, what do you think?
I mean, we've been playing together since 7th grade. I mean, we've been district champs since 7th grade, since last year, and we're going to keep on working through it to prove it we can do it again this year.
For sure. And you guys are now 5-0, and I mean, the targets are going to only get bigger on you guys' back. So how are y'all going to go about it?
We like that. We want everybody's best. Tonight we saw Brazos' best. Last week we saw Ganedo's best. So we want to see the best out of everybody because it only helps us to work harder and get ready.
For sure. And TJ, where's the reigning athlete of the week at? Okay, man. Uh-oh. I mean, a good game for you as well, man. So, you know, how are you going to face these targets as you guys go deeper into the season?
I'll just take it week by week.
I love it. All right, guys, let's wrap things up. But, you know, Max, back to you. Roll Tide.
Awesome, Ray. Big time win there for the Tidehaven Tigers, winning our game of the week versus Wallace Brazos Cougars. But we got one final score before we reveal this week's Friday Night 5 Power Rankings. Look at the St. Joseph Flyers. Look to stay undefeated traveling up Fort Worth Christian, and they did not. They lose 45-7. They're looking to get back on track as they are at Memorial Stadium for spring proceeding there next week. But now it's time to reveal here this week's Friday Night 5 Power Rankings. And we got a couple changes here from this list. It's actually not these teams that we see here on the screen. So the team that we're going to start off here at number 5 is going to start here with the Ganado Indians, not the Shiner Comanches. Ganado is a team right now that are look at big-time victory over Flatonia. And guess what? They've got their offense back. You can see Logan Burrs is making a lot of big-time plays. Also, Landon Arriaga looked a lot more comfortable in this game there against Flatonia than he was last week there versus Tidehaven. That's going to be the key for Ganado. Even though you lost against a very tough team like Tidehaven, you got your get-back game against Flatonia. And you know that you took care of the district there last year. So I believe for Ganado, if they just keep the pace, they get their defense consistent like it was tonight, probably the best defensive performance we've seen from Ganado the entire season, and I think they're going to be right back up there. Could be competing back for a 2A Division I state championship. Now, the Cuero Gobblers were at number 2. They dropped now to number 4 in my rankings. And again, when you have a very close game there against Bell Belton. And again, their defense really didn't get going on that game, and that's really a problem there for Aguero. Their offense we know is good. They're very explosive and make plays, but if you can't get the defense right there, sometimes that's the one little thing that can get a win or a loss. And I think for Aguero, they got to fix that up there going to district play, because they got one more game at Harlingen there next week before they start district there in 2 weeks. Now the number 3 team, I'm going to move up Victoria West Warriors. I've been very impressed with Victoria West, but the real test for them starts next week versus Kerrville Tigers. They got a big-time victory tonight there against San Antonio McCollum. They're winning 41-7. And again, Genesis Jeffries made plays. Andrew Henley, we saw the touchdown run that he got there in the game. But their offense has looked explosive too, and Nolan Boys and Aiden De Leon has been outstanding for this team. So for the West Warriors, if they can keep that 3-headed monster in the running game going with Henley, Flores, and Jeffries, and they can also get better wide receiver play, their defense has been lights out with Jacob Freeman leading the way. I think West, this could be, against shock to people, could beat Alamo Heights this year. I think they can. They got the firepower. Can they stop their offense? We'll see. They're going the rest of the way. They're number 3 in this week's rankings. Number 2 right now, moving up their Refugio Bobcats. I think out of all these teams right now, they are the most consistent team here in the rankings. Refugio has kept that offense going with Xander Wills. And again, Bray Lewis has also made some big-time plays as well. And again, for Refugio, that is the key. And also their defense, that hasn't been talked about a lot. Jonathan Montalvo is another guy that's been huge on the defensive side for Refugio, and that's been key here in this kind of win streak that they've been doing. And I think right now, it's going to be a matchup right now between Ganado and Refugio. They could meet up there in the state semifinals, but the team that's still at number 1, they did have a little bit of a scare there versus Wallace Brazos overall, but guess what? For Tidehaven, they get the job done. At the end of the day, sometimes you're going to start off slow, especially going a 2-hour trip all the way out there towards the Houston area, but for Tidehaven, they get the job done. Good job to Cale Russell and this team, and they're going to start against facing Industrial there next week. And again, thank you everyone for watching this week's episode of Crossroads Football Live. Give a shout out to our sponsors, the Victory Auto Group, Palace Bingo, Frost Bank, Velocity Power Sports. And again, if you want to check out more CFL updates and when you have a score update or you just want to see what happened tonight, just go to crossroadstoday.com or download our app or look for our podcast here on tonight's game to see what you can have there for next week. But we're getting ready to start up district play here for a lot of these teams. And again, can't wait to keep piling week by week as we get towards the playoffs later on for Crossroads Football Live.